gas station, and they filled it up. The car was just out of gas. There wasn't anything wrong with the car except that it ran out of gas. And they towed it. They called AAA. They towed it into a gas station, and they had it filled up. After they filled it up, the person, when it was right there at the pump, he got behind the car and started trying to push the car. Yeah, that's kind of visual, isn't it? What the point is that we don't have to do it in our own power. The Lord has already provided it, and in this case, just get in the car, cut the key on, and drive the car. Well, there's a partnership that we all need to have with the Lord, and we have to do our part. We have to be the ones that push the plow, but let's not do it just to be doing it. Let's do it the way the Lord wants us to. So responsibility is my passion. And when I got back into the prison, in my story today here, I'm going to take us back into Powder River Correctional Facility. I introduced myself to the men, and I want to say a big thank you. Let me just talk about Powder River. I'm going to transition to Powder River right now, but I've got to give you one quick joke. When I was in Hillsboro, Kansas, driving through Kansas, but there was a table there, outdoor picnic kind of table, and there were 6 men sitting there, and they had on fire rescue shirts, so I knew they were part of the Hillsboro Fire and Rescue Department. And there was one man there that was a little younger. I didn't realize it until at the end. He was 16. But I spent about 45 minutes with these gentlemen. I introduced myself, and that's part of what I do. I like connecting with people. The heart of America is the people. And so as I was in hotels, I watched the maids and the people that were taking care of the food and the tables and the waiters and the waitresses. And there was this one hotel where there was a morning TV show on while we were eating breakfast, and it was a bunch of political stuff. And this woman that was cleaning the tables, she stopped for a minute. It caught her attention, and then she turned and had a real look of disgust on her face. And, hey, there's enough stuff on the national news with politics that will give you a look of disgust. But she looked at me, and I looked at her, and we both said, you know, what a shame where things are going sometimes, the way politics get out of hand. I'm not getting into politics, but I will tell you this. There is a culture in America of real people that are not out to have the government take care of them, that want to work hard, make a good life, and that they care about one another, and that's who we are. We need to be people that care about one another, that give each other a helping hand, give each other support, encouragement, be there for each other. That's what we're supposed to be, is a people that care about each other. Now, I apologize. I said I was going to start back into talking about my experience in the prison, but what it is when Don and I were traveling all the way through, when we first got into Idaho and then we got into Wyoming, Yellowstone, on into South Dakota on our way to Mount Rushmore, there were motorcycles, Harley-Davidson motorcycles everywhere on the highway. And I knew that South Dakota was a paradise for bikers, but I did not know, and I found out on this trip, and most of you listening probably know about it, the Sturgis Rally each year, the bike rally in Sturgis. I think they had their 75th anniversary a couple years ago. There were 1 million bikes in Sturgis. And they travel all around. And in fact, as we got close to home when we were in Waynesboro, Virginia, taking a picture of the overlook there, back to Virginia. Virginia is as gorgeous as any state in the country. I want to invite everybody that's listening in other states to come visit Virginia. We have natural beauty here, but we fell in love with all the other states too. My wife particularly fell in love with South Dakota and Iowa. Just beautiful. Well, we also went into Illinois and went to a botanical gardens there that has one of the most beautiful botanical gardens that we've ever been to, one of the most peaceful, serene places I've ever been. It's just wonderful. But the bikers, what I want to tell you is there were bikes everywhere. And we were in the middle of the Sturgis annual rally that takes place in mid-August. and there were just hundreds of thousands of bikers going to Sturgis, South Dakota. And I just want to tell you that you talk about the heartland of America, the Harley-Davidson biker, that is one rock-solid American group of people. That is one group that has a real unity and togetherness, and I just want to compliment that whole culture that they are part of. They can depend on one another. They're there for one another, and they are just a bunch of just absolutely wonderful people. And as we stopped at Waynesboro to take that last picture, a biker and his wife rode up, and I introduced myself, and I asked him, did he know about the rally in Sturgis, because we had just seen just hundreds of, there were thousands of bikes. And they said, yeah, we just came from there. And they lived in Newport News. My wife and I live in Norfolk, but that was just beautiful that we had a chance to connect with a biker couple that had just done a 2-week road trip to go all the way out to South Dakota to the rally and come back. So put that on your list if you're looking for something to do. When I went to the Kansas, to the Sonic that I was just trying to tell you, I told him a few of my simple jokes, and this one gentleman, and he turned out to be one of the men's sons, he's 16 years old, he said to me, and I've got it on video if anybody wants to, I'll post it one day. He said I could. He said, do you know how flat Kansas is? And I said, no. How flat is Kansas? He said, Kansas is so flat that you can watch your dog run away for 2 weeks. I absolutely love that picture. Imagine standing on your porch and your dog's running away from you, and it just keeps running, and you just keep seeing it run away from you. Okay. While I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, visiting Jim Stovall, 2 things there of note. One is they have the Golden Driller, which is the 3rd largest man-made statue in the world. It's a 75-foot statue of a man that works the oil fields, and I went there to see that. That was amazing to see. I stood on a shoe, and I did also go to Oral Roberts University, and this was a really good moment. They have the world's largest statue of the praying hands. I think it's like 35 feet tall or something. And the praying hands is just a wonderful, wonderful statue, and the whole idea of the praying hands is close to my heart. Okay, so now I would like to transition for the last part of the show to my visit at Powder River Correctional Center and tell you that on the show that I did before I left, I said that this was going to be a life-changing experience for me, and it was. When I went into that prison, I wasn't just Steve, the local person that goes all around Virginia that knows most of the people in all the prisons that I visit. I was a person from far away, but I went there as a representative of other people. Some of the people that I represented are dead. Napoleon Hill, his spirit's not dead, but Napoleon Hill. And I've talked a great deal about Viktor Frankl and Man's Search for Meaning. And Jim Stovall gave me permission to tell his story and to send people to him and know about who he is and what he does and what his message is. And Don Green of the Napoleon Hill Foundation is encouraging me in every step that I take. And I thank Don for his total support and the wisdom that he shares with me and the mentoring that he gives me. Robin Kasarjan of Houses of Healing. When I went into this prison to meet these men, they gave me the most wonderful reception, welcome that I've ever had anywhere. And part of it, I guess, is that I have a message, and I've been giving it on the air for 6 months now, but it was different for me when I went there. I announced to the men at Powder River Correctional Facility that this was Right Thinking Foundation's grand opening. I have now launched Right Thinking Foundation into a national program, not just in the state of Virginia. And so I was so pleased to be able to share that with these men. And as I was there, I gave them a message that was not just my message. It was the same message that all the others that I just mentioned give. It was a message of taking responsibility, doing things in the right order, not quitting, not giving up, persevering. And as I continued on the message, I got to know these men, and they were just so receptive. I started off like I always do, and I told them that I have a little housekeeping before we get started, a little things that I want to, ground rules that I want to lay. And I said to them, there were 58 men there, by the way, 58 men. And the session was to be from 5:30 to 7:30. Well, they asked me before I came in, would I make it till 8, because the men had such an interest in what I was going to be talking about. But when I got there, it got extended to 8:30, so it was a full 3 hours. 25 of the original 58 men were still there at the very end, just participating. And I'm just so honored, and I want to thank these men. But what we're doing now with Right Thinking is we're going to the next level. Not only are we going to be doing the radio show, and I have a curriculum that I do in different places, the website and the online ongoing support, that's what interests these men also. Once they found out what my message was and what I have to offer and the resources that I can bring to them, I let them know that when they get out, if they listen to the radio show, go to the website, register on the website, www.rightthink.org, rightthink.org, that I could connect with them, that I could help mentor them from a distance, that I could send them resources. They could tell me what they're doing and what kind of things they might like to be researched, and some help in starting their own business, or just positive encouragement or articles or things. And so Right Thinking Foundation's future is to not just be motivational speaking, encouraging, and providing tools on cash flow management and budgeting and getting your finances in order. It's going to be a support network for those as they get out of prisons, and anyone else. You don't have to be coming out of prison to be part of it, but Right Thinking is there for you. It's the spirit of America. We have to help each other. We have to encourage each other. And so I am just so thrilled that Chaplain Hafer, and he said, oh, Steve, they stayed. You held their attention. They were really involved in what you were doing. And so I said, well, yeah, they were wonderful to me. I just felt the love in there, and I honestly felt that every single person in there has it in them to succeed, that they really can succeed. Every one of them can. I don't know that I've ever felt that before in a group in a prison. But I told him, I said, well, Chaplain, I just want you to know that I just feel inadequate. And he said, really? You certainly didn't, you seemed anything but inadequate. You seemed to have confidence, and you knew what you were talking about, and so forth. And I said, no, what I mean is, I just wish there was more that I could do for them. I wish there was more that I could do, like you wish for your children. Like, you can't shake your children into doing things sometimes until they just learn it. These men were absolutely wonderful. And I just, again, thank you, Chaplain Hafer, for having me there. I want to come back soon. And I did follow up with the chaplain 2 days ago, and he said the men are very interested and they want some more materials. And I gave them a book that I had put together for them, and its instructions on how to do cash flow management. And anybody that's interested in some mentoring on cash flow management, how to get your money in order. I've talked about it on many, many shows. Know every penny that goes through your fingertips. I'm available. Just go to the website and contact me, and I'll send you some materials, rightthink.org. Well, what I'm trying to say today is that there's a lot of people out there that made mistakes, a lot of people that are in struggles, and they want to succeed, but I believe completely that it takes people to receive them, or they get discouraged and they might go back into some of their ways that aren't proper. I started to tell you about my housekeeping and my passion, and this is part of the big message. I do this in most prisons, and there's 58 men in there, and they're all in pretty good shape, I have to tell you that. And I said, before we get started, there's just a couple things that I got to get out there.